Now, I could start this video with my embarrassingly shrieky and pretty bad impersonation of Elmo, but I know that will tank the viewer retention stats because, well, dear sweet Elmo does have one of those voices that's appealing to the under fives and rancid bin juice to the ears of just about everybody else. Yet this has proved to be little impediment to his success, hasn't it? He's the undoubted star of Sesame Street despite joining its cast nearly a decade into its run. Starting out as a background character, he manoeuvred his way to the foreground and ultimately the spotlight. It's like a furry version of Game of Thrones, though there's no indication that Elmo has either slept or murdered his way to the top of the stairs next to the Snuffleupagus. Yet. That may come out. We all know of the incredible 1996 demand for Tickle Me Elmo, which saw people reenact scenes from Jingle All the Way in their local Toys R Us. These days, though, Tickle Me Elmos are so plentiful they're being electro-shock therapied by internet wags with hilarious results. Being an incredibly famous celebrity, it was almost inevitable we would hear stories of a carnal nature attached to the red-flocked romp room roustabout, as his original puppeteer had to resign after some unproven allegations of improper conduct with minors came to light. And by minors, I don't mean those guys down in the mines. Statute of limitations expired. The puppeteer in question, Mr. Kevin Clash, is now putting his fist back up. Puppets. Yes. The 90s popularity of the character was huge enough for the Jim Henson Company to point the little fella's orange honker towards the Hollywood sign, to which he bounded towards with the sort of youthful energy that my frame forgot too long ago. I'm very old. The movie that came out of this escapade was called The Adventures of Elmo in Grouchland, and that was released upon the American viewing public in October 1999. After a series of mishaps, Elmo's beloved blanket ends up in the possession of Oscar the Grouch, who treats it like a tissue, and so Projectile shoots a load of sticky body waste all over it and throws it in the trash. No, not that, obviously, though that is where I directed your hips for my own crass self-abasement. The blanket is then thrown below Oscar's feet into the mysterious otherworld of his dustbin. Now, Oscar's bin was something that fascinated me growing up. There was a lot going on in there. You would hear Oscar potter off down some stairs, rifle through cabinets. It was a well of impossible space. Now, thanks to Elmo, we actually get to find out what was going on in there as the plucky puppet descends into the tin trash depository to recover his blanket. Being a vast pocket universe, Elmo doesn't emerge for a few hours, meaning his absence is noted by key members of the Sesame Street cast who duly follow him there to Grouchland. Not Bert and Ernie, though, who remain holed up in their flat like the evident agoraphobic homosexual couple that they probably are. Adventures in Grouchland was the second movie to be based on the characters of Sesame Street after 1985's Follow That Bird. It was the last puppeting performance of Frank Oz before he hung up the glove puppets. The film received generally positive reviews from the critics, currently sitting pretty on a review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes with a freshness score of 77. That's not too bad. Despite this and Elmo's popularity, it was a box office stinker, grossing $12 million against a budget of more than $26 million. This was before the acquisition by Disney, so Sony were distributing the movie worldwide, and they withdrew a chunk of the marketing budget just before it was to be released that largely crippled it. As a result, it's now left as the poorest performing Muppet-based movie in history. Elmo is sad because he was in a turkey, like a lonely pervert, on Christmas Day. Yeah, that's the Elmo impression. Sorry about that. I probably will do it again, though. Two related games came out the same month as the release of the movie. An interactive edutainment title on the PC that was published by Mattel, and the game we're covering today, the eponymously titled The Adventures of Elmo in Grouchland, that came out on the Gameboy Color. I'm not going to carry on the review by calling it The Adventures of Elmo in Grouchland, though, because that's too long a title. How does the acronym work? TAILEG. Oh, no, that doesn't work either. Okay, let's just call it Grouchland, that'll do. Grouchland was published by Ubisoft's kids arm, NewKidCo, who you may remember as the house behind the absolute splurge of ET related titles in 2002 that no one ever talks about. It was coded by Bonsai, who also made a further 2 Elmo related titles in 1999, both of which look suspiciously more educational to me, so let's not talk about them at all. Thank you very much. Bye, Felicia. Grouchland is far more exciting as it's a platform game, which is a much more preferable genre, thank you very much. 8 levels stand between your digital avatar puppet and blanket grasping glory, 6 of which are traditional platforming fare, with a bit of variety thrown up by level 2's junk avoiding plummet into Grouchland, and level 6 is minecart stage. Minecart stages and platform games, they're practically married at this stage, aren't they? The Bert and Ernie of gaming conventions. Elmo is a little slippery to control and doesn't have much in the way of attacks. Remember, he's a baby muppet. He's got hands like pillows. He's not going to be much good in a fight. So instead, you'll be doing a lot of hazard avoidance for the most part. Though in level 3, you do push away muppet damaging fart gas clouds with a fan. And in the middle of the game, you'll be battling film villain Huxley's helicopter with the water from a hydrant. Graphically, it's fine. The backgrounds, animation and sprite work do a good job, but nothing that will make a small child holler with glee. Now, on to the elephant in the room, or the snuffleupagus in the room if you prefer. The footage I'm currently playing is the last 2 levels of the 8, unedited and in their entirety. Just watch this. Yes, that was a quarter of this entire game. This video is the entirety of the game footage, including the menu screens and the closing scenes. That is just over 10 minutes. And this was me selecting it on hard on my first go. Yes, I know it's aimed at smaller children, but still, make it easy, but at least give it something resembling some sort of length. The game is marginally longer than World 1 in Super Mario Bros. And massively easier. They've taken time to draw all these fresh background graphics per levels for stages that last about 30 seconds. So embellish it, make it bigger. Elmo is on a fantastical journey through a silly world of grumps, not on a trip to the local newsagents for a copy of Carp Weekly and a bag of Starburst. The game has a runtime a 13th as long as the movie. Shouldn't it be the other way around with game adaptions? Surely. And no, there's not even any mini-games, which are the usual filler they put in kids' titles. This was £30 at launch. At 10 minutes runtime, that's £3 a minute. Elmo has been mugged! Can you spell mugged? M-U-G-G-E-D. That spells mugged! I'm bleeding out! Sorry about that again. There can only be 2 reasons for the length of this. Either NewKidCo were being lolly-snatching grifters who wanted to put in the bare minimum of work, or development support was diverted after they discovered Sony planned to pull back on marketing to the movie prior to its release. If this was the reason, it's a pretty bad one. Elmo is a big enough draw on his own terms, and if the game is given good enough praise and word of mouth, it could have stood on its own with the movie just being background noise, couldn't it? Surely. I couldn't really find anything in the way of reviews, which adds credence to the argument that the whole Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland marketing push was extended across the whole of its merchandising. And also, well, I can't see the press of the time being that impressed with this anemic package that's on offer to them. So there you go then. this review is officially longer than the entire game. So just like our eponymous hero, this experience has made me feel like I've been to Grouchland. Elmo is glad he has his blanket because he's going to bed for being such a bad boy. Yeah, that impression got worse as it went on, didn't it? Sorry about that. Anyway, like, subscribe, and thanks, bye.